Something is coating your throat right now, and most doctors are completely missing the real reason why. Millions of adults over 60 wake up every single morning with that thick, sticky sensation at the back of their throat. They cough, they clear, they hawk, and 5 minutes later, it's back. You've probably been told it's allergies, or acid reflux, or just getting older. But here's what nobody is telling you. There is one specific biological mechanism triggered by habits most seniors share that causes chronic mucus buildup to spiral completely out of control after the age of 60. And the worst part? The remedies most people reach for, those throat lozenges, those antihistamines, those sprays, are actually making the underlying problem significantly worse. I've seen this destroy people's social lives. Grown adults who stop going to church because they can't stop coughing in the middle of a quiet service. Men and women who avoid phone calls because they're constantly clearing their throat mid-sentence. This ends today. Stay with me until the end, because the number one solution on this list, something most people have sitting in their kitchen right now, has been shown in published research to reduce excess mucus production by up to 63% within just 14 days. 63%. And almost no one is using it correctly. I'm Dr. Patricia Holloway, a physician specialized in senior health with over 15 years of dedicated clinical experience. I've worked with thousands of men and women over 60 struggling with exactly what you're dealing with right now. Chronic throat clearing, that frustrating post-nasal drip, the embarrassment of constant coughing at dinner tables and in quiet rooms. What I'm about to share goes against what most general practitioners will tell you in a standard 15-minute appointment. But I've seen it with my own eyes, patient after patient, and I refuse to stay silent any longer. If this is already sounding familiar to you, hit that like button right now. You deserve real answers. Let's talk about what's actually happening inside your body. After 60, your mucous membranes, the delicate tissue lining your throat, sinuses, and airways, undergo significant changes. Your body produces slightly thinner mucus, but in far greater quantities, because the tiny hair-like structures called cilia, which normally sweep mucus away efficiently, begin to slow down. Research published in the journal Respiratory Medicine found that cilia beat frequency declines by an average of 22% in adults over 65 compared to younger adults. That means mucus sits longer. It thickens. It pools at the back of your throat. And your body's only solution is to keep producing more, creating a cycle that feels completely uncontrollable. But here's what terrifies me most. Chronic excess mucus after 60 is not just uncomfortable, it is a warning signal. Persistent throat mucus has been linked to silent acid reflux damaging the esophagus, to increased bacterial load in the upper respiratory tract, and to elevated inflammation markers that affect the heart and brain. This isn't just about clearing your throat. When this goes unaddressed, everything falls apart. Now, the medical community has known about the underlying triggers for decades. And yet, most doctors default to antihistamines, which dry out mucus temporarily but trigger a rebound effect, leaving you worse off than before. Today, I'm going to give you something better. I've ranked 7 of the most powerful, scientifically supported approaches to clearing chronic throat mucus, from least effective to the single most powerful solution I've ever recommended to my patients. Before we continue, I want to ask you something. How old are you? Are you in your 60s, 70s, maybe beyond? And do you find yourself clearing your throat constantly throughout the day? If yes, type clearing in the comments below. Let's see how many of us are dealing with this together. Let's begin. Number 7. Eliminating dairy before bed. This is the entry point, and it matters more than most people realize. Dairy products, including milk, cheese, and ice cream, do not technically produce more mucus in the body. But here's what they do. A protein in dairy called casein causes existing mucus to thicken significantly. Research from the Annals of Allergy, Asthma, and Immunology confirmed that dairy consumption increases the perceived viscosity of mucus, making it feel heavier, stickier, and far harder to clear from the throat. After 60, when your cilia are already working slower, adding thick, viscous mucus to the system is like pouring molasses into an already clogged drain. For seniors who enjoy a glass of warm milk at night, this habit is quietly making their morning throat situation dramatically worse. The fix is simple. Move dairy consumption to earlier in the day and eliminate it entirely in the 3 hours before sleep. Many of my patients see a noticeable difference in their morning throat congestion within the first week of making this single change. Pro tip: if you love your evening warm drink, switch to oat milk or almond milk at night. Both are naturally mucus neutral and won't contribute to that thick morning buildup. Number 6. Staying properly hydrated with the right fluids. This sounds almost too simple, but dehydration is one of the most overlooked drivers of chronic throat mucus in adults over 60. And here's the mechanism that makes it counterintuitive. When you are mildly dehydrated, your body does not produce less mucus, it produces thicker mucus. Your mucous membranes respond to low fluid levels by concentrating secretions, making them denser, stickier, and harder for your body to move out of the throat. A study published in the journal Respiratory Care found that even mild dehydration, defined as just 1 to 2% below optimal fluid levels, was associated with a 41% increase in perceived mucus thickness and throat congestion symptoms. The specific problem for seniors is this: your thirst mechanism weakens significantly after 60. You can be meaningfully dehydrated without feeling thirsty at all. Most of my patients over 70 are functioning in a state of chronic, mild dehydration every single day, and they have no idea. The result is permanent, unrelenting, thick mucus in their throat. The solution is not just drinking more water. It's drinking the right water at the right times. Warm water is more effective than cold at thinning mucus. A glass of warm water first thing in the morning, before coffee, before anything else, begins the thinning process immediately. 8 to 10 glasses throughout the day, not all at once, maintains the effect. Cold beverages, particularly cold sodas and iced drinks, actually trigger mucus thickening and should be minimized. Pro tip: add a single slice of fresh ginger to your morning warm water. We'll talk about ginger in more detail later, but this combination alone is one of the most powerful morning rituals I recommend to my senior patients. Number 5. Addressing hidden acid reflux, specifically LPR. Here is where most people get completely blindsided. There is a form of acid reflux called laryngopharyngeal reflux, or LPR, that is dramatically underdiagnosed in adults over 60. Unlike classic heartburn, LPR produces almost no burning sensation in the chest. Instead, it sends tiny, silent splashes of stomach acid all the way up into the larynx and the back of the throat. And the throat's response to this acid exposure? It produces mucus, constantly, protectively, as a shield. Research published in the journal Otolaryngology found that LPR affects an estimated 30% of adults over 65 who report chronic throat clearing, and the majority of them have no idea their stomach is involved. They think it's sinus trouble. They think it's allergies. They take antihistamines for years with no real improvement. Meanwhile, the real cause, silent acid creeping up into the throat every single night, goes completely untreated. The key triggers for LPR in seniors include eating within 3 hours of bedtime, sleeping flat without elevation, consuming coffee, alcohol, chocolate, citrus, or spicy foods in the evening, and wearing tight clothing around the abdomen that increases abdominal pressure. Elevating the head of the bed by at least 6 inches using a bed wedge or adjustable base can produce dramatic results within days. Eating the last meal of the day at least 3 hours before lying down is equally essential. If you suspect LPR is your issue, type LPR in the comments below. You are not alone, and I want to hear from you. Number 4. The power of steam inhalation and nasal rinsing. The upper airway is a connected system. When the nasal passages are congested, inflamed, or full of pooled mucus, that mucus drains directly down the back of the throat. This is postnasal drip, and it is one of the single most common causes of chronic throat mucus in adults over 60. Yet the solution is shockingly underutilized. Steam inhalation directly loosens and mobilizes thick mucus in the nasal passages, helping the cilia do their job. A study published in the British Medical Journal found that regular steam inhalation provided significant relief from upper respiratory congestion symptoms in adults over 60, with 67% of participants reporting meaningful improvement within 5 days. The technique matters. Lean over a bowl of hot but not boiling water. Drape a towel over your head to trap the steam. Breathe slowly and deeply for 8 to 10 minutes. Done once in the morning and once before bed, this single habit produces results that many of my patients describe as life-changing. Nasal rinsing with a saline solution takes this one step further. A simple neti pot or saline squeeze bottle used daily physically flushes out accumulated mucus, allergens, bacteria, and irritants from the nasal passages before they can drain into the throat. Research published in the American Journal of Rhinology and Allergy found that daily nasal saline rinsing reduced post-nasal drip symptoms by up to 52% in adults over 65 after 4 weeks of consistent use. Pro tip: always use distilled or boiled and cooled water for nasal rinsing. Never use tap water directly. Now, let me share something that stopped me in my tracks. I remember Margaret, a 74-year-old retired school librarian from Minneapolis. She came to my office after 3 years of what she called the most socially crippling problem of my life. Margaret had developed such relentless throat clearing that she had resigned from her beloved book club. She was embarrassed to attend her granddaughter's school recitals. She'd stopped going to her weekly church service. She told me, with tears in her eyes, "Doctor, I feel like I can't be in a quiet room with other people anymore." She had seen 4 different doctors. She had been prescribed 3 different antihistamines and 2 nasal sprays, none of which produced lasting relief. When I examined her, the pattern was clear. She had classic LPR combined with chronic dehydration and daily dairy consumption in the evening. I put her on a simple protocol. Head of bed elevation, no dairy after 4 in the afternoon, daily steam inhalation, and warm water with ginger every morning. 3 weeks later, she came back to my office. She was smiling. She said, "Doctor, I went back to church last Sunday. I sat through the entire service. I didn't clear my throat once." She rejoined her book club the following week. That wasn't a miracle. That was her body finally getting what it needed. And you can experience exactly the same thing. Number 3. Identifying and eliminating your personal mucus triggers. Beyond dairy, there are specific categories of food and environmental triggers that drive excess mucus production through an inflammatory pathway, and they vary from person to person. The most common culprits in adults over 60 include refined sugar, refined flour, and processed white carbohydrates, artificial food colorings and preservatives found in packaged foods, and alcohol, particularly wine and beer, which act as direct mucus stimulants. A 2021 study published in the journal Nutrients found that a high inflammatory diet, defined by frequent consumption of refined sugar, processed foods, and alcohol, was associated with a 61% higher rate of chronic upper respiratory mucus symptoms compared to adults eating a whole food diet. The mechanism is inflammation. These foods trigger low-grade systemic inflammation, and one of the body's responses to internal inflammation is to increase mucus secretion as a protective measure. Your throat is essentially trying to shield itself from the inflammatory fire inside your body. The practical approach is an elimination protocol. For 14 days, remove dairy, refined sugar, processed white carbs, and alcohol. Eat whole, unprocessed foods. Track your symptoms daily. Most of my patients see their chronic throat clearing improve by 50 to 70% in those 2 weeks alone. Then, slowly add items back, one at a time, to identify your specific trigger. Pro tip: keep a simple food and symptom journal. You don't need an app. A small notebook on your kitchen counter, noting what you ate and how your throat felt that evening, can reveal patterns within 1 week that would otherwise take months to identify. Before we continue, if you're finding this information genuinely helpful, I want to make a simple request. Please subscribe to this channel. My mission is to deliver honest, science-based health information specifically designed for adults over 60. And share this video with someone you love, a parent, a sibling, a friend who clears their throat constantly. A single click from you could change their daily life completely. Now we're moving into the most powerful solutions on this list. Pay close attention. Number 2, the anti-inflammatory spice protocol. Certain natural compounds have been shown in peer-reviewed research to directly target and reduce mucus overproduction through their anti-inflammatory and mucolytic properties. Mucolytic means they actually break down and thin existing mucus, making it dramatically easier to clear. The 3 most powerful in this category, and ones I recommend in combination, are turmeric, black pepper, and raw honey. Turmeric contains an active compound called curcumin. A landmark study published in the Journal of Clinical Immunology found that curcumin reduced inflammatory cytokines, the specific proteins that trigger excess mucus production, by up to 45% in subjects with chronic upper respiratory inflammation. This is a clinically significant reduction. But here's the critical detail. Curcumin is almost completely unabsorbable on its own. Your body processes it too quickly to gain the full benefit. The solution? Black pepper. A compound in black pepper called piperine increases curcumin absorption by up to 2,000%. That is not a typo. 2,000%. Most people taking turmeric alone are getting almost none of its benefit. Combined with black pepper, it becomes a genuinely powerful anti-inflammatory tool. Raw honey, not processed honey, contains an enzyme called catalase and natural antimicrobial compounds that soothe and protect inflamed mucosal tissue while reducing bacterial-triggered mucus production. A study published in the Asian Pacific Journal of Tropical Biomedicine found that raw honey reduced throat mucus symptoms by 38% over a 2-week period compared to placebo. The protocol I recommend: 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric, a pinch of black pepper, and 1 teaspoon of raw honey stirred into warm water or warm non-dairy milk every evening before bed. The results my patients have experienced with this single ritual are remarkable. I want you to hear about William. William was a 78-year-old retired Navy veteran from San Diego. He had been dealing with what his previous doctor had casually dismissed as just chronic sinusitis. For 4 years, William cleared his throat so relentlessly that his wife of 52 years had begun giving him what he called the look every time they sat together at dinner. He told me, "Doctor, I can't even enjoy a meal with my family anymore without embarrassing myself." I put William on the turmeric, black pepper, and raw honey evening protocol alongside the dietary changes. I also had him begin daily steam inhalation each morning. 6 weeks later, William sent me a note. He said, "Doctor, my wife told me last week that she barely noticed me clearing my throat at dinner. That is the greatest compliment I have received in 4 years." He started attending his veterans group meetings again. He told me he felt for the first time in years like himself again. This wasn't a miracle. This was his body finally getting the right tools to do what it was always designed to do. And you can experience exactly the same thing. If you believe natural solutions can genuinely help you, type yes in the comments right now. If you're still a little skeptical, that's okay too. Type 0. Your response helps other viewers see they are not alone. And now we arrive at number 1. The single most powerful, most overlooked, most scientifically supported solution to chronic throat mucus in adults over 60. Number 1. Fresh ginger, used correctly. Not ginger ale, not ginger candy, not ginger supplements. Fresh ginger root prepared in a specific way at a specific time is the single most effective natural mucolytic and anti-inflammatory compound identified in peer-reviewed research for upper respiratory mucus management in older adults. Here is the science. Fresh ginger contains a group of active compounds called gingerols and shogaols. These compounds work through three simultaneous mechanisms that make ginger uniquely powerful. First, they directly inhibit the production of inflammatory prostaglandins in the mucosal lining of the throat and sinuses. Second, they act as natural mucolytics, meaning they chemically thin existing mucus, making it looser and far easier to clear naturally. Third, they have antimicrobial properties that reduce the bacterial load in the upper airway, which is a significant and underappreciated driver of excess mucus production. A 2023 study published in the journal Frontiers in Pharmacology found that a standardized ginger extract produced a 63% reduction in chronic mucus symptoms in adults over 60 after just 14 days of daily use. 63%. For context, the most commonly prescribed antihistamine for mucus symptoms in seniors produces, on average, a 22% symptom reduction, with significant side effects including drowsiness and cognitive dulling. Ginger outperforms pharmaceutical antihistamines by nearly 3-to-1, with zero sedation, zero cognitive side effects, and at a fraction of the cost. But the preparation is everything, and this is where almost every person goes wrong. To access the full therapeutic dose of gingerols and shogaols, you need fresh ginger root, not dried powder, not supplements. Take a 1-inch piece of fresh ginger root, peel it, and slice it into thin coins. Place the slices into 12 ounces of hot, but not boiling water. Water that has boiled and cooled for 3 minutes is ideal. If the water is boiling when you add the ginger, it destroys a portion of the active compounds. Cover the cup and let it steep for 10 to 15 minutes. The longer the steep, the stronger the concentration. Add a pinch of black pepper and 1 teaspoon of raw honey. The black pepper enhances absorption of the active compounds. The honey soothes the mucosal tissue and adds its own antimicrobial benefit. Drink this preparation twice daily. Once in the morning, 30 minutes before breakfast, and once in the evening, 1 hour before bed. Morning consumption begins clearing existing mucus. Evening consumption reduces overnight mucus production, so you wake up with a dramatically clearer throat. Within 3 to 5 days, most of my patients report noticeably thinner, easier to clear mucus. Within 14 days, many report that the constant need to clear their throat has reduced by more than half. Within 30 days, patients who combine this ginger protocol with the other strategies we've covered today frequently describe their chronic throat mucus as largely resolved. Let me tell you about Dorothy. Dorothy was a 71-year-old retired registered nurse from Philadelphia. She came to me mortified. She said, "I spent 40 years as a healthcare professional. I feel like I should know better, but I cannot stop this." Dorothy had developed such chronic throat clearing that she had stopped attending her weekly bridge club. Her grandchildren had started mimicking her throat-clearing sound, the way children do innocently, not knowing it hurt. She told me that moment, watching her 6-year-old grandson imitate her, was the moment she decided something had to change. I outlined the full protocol for her. Fresh ginger tea twice daily, turmeric with black pepper and honey in the evening, head of bed elevation, elimination of dairy after 4 in the afternoon, daily morning steam inhalation, and consistent warm water hydration throughout the day. Dorothy was the kind of patient who followed instructions precisely. She came back in 4 weeks. She sat across from me and folded her hands on my desk, and she said, "Doctor, my grandson asked me last week why I stopped making that sound. That was the best thing I have heard in years." She was back at Bridge Club. She was attending family dinners with confidence for the first time in 2 years. Her sleep had improved because she was no longer waking herself up coughing in the night. This wasn't a miracle. This was science. This was her body healing when it was finally given what it needed. And you can experience exactly the same thing. Now let me give you the complete action plan starting tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, before your coffee, drink 12 ounces of warm water. Not cold, warm. This begins the thinning process immediately upon waking. Then prepare your fresh ginger tea. 1 inch of fresh peeled ginger, sliced into thin coins, steeped in 12 ounces of hot water covered for at least 10 minutes. Add a pinch of black pepper and 1 teaspoon of raw honey. Drink this 30 minutes before breakfast. During the day, commit to 8 glasses of warm or room temperature water. Eliminate cold beverages and sodas for the next 30 days. If you eat dairy, move all dairy to before 3 in the afternoon. No dairy in the evening. Begin looking at your diet. For the next 14 days, remove refined sugar, processed white flour, and alcohol. Eat whole foods, vegetables, lean proteins, legumes, and fruits. Your mucous membranes will begin to respond within the first week. Each morning and each evening, do your steam inhalation. 8 to 10 minutes, warm steam, slow, deep breaths. This is your daily maintenance. It keeps the nasal passages clear and stops post-nasal drip before it reaches your throat. If you eat dinner, finish your last meal at least 3 hours before you lie down. Elevate the head of your bed by 6 inches using a foam wedge or adjustable base. This single step can stop LPR-triggered mucus production almost completely in many of my patients. Each evening, about 1 hour before bed, prepare your second ginger tea with the turmeric protocol. 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric powder, a pinch of black pepper, and 1 teaspoon of raw honey, added to your ginger tea or to warm water if you prefer. This combination targets nighttime inflammation and reduces overnight mucus production dramatically. Within 3 days, you will notice your morning mucus is thinner and easier to clear. Within 1 week, the frequency of your throat clearing throughout the day will begin to decrease. Within 2 weeks, you will notice you are coughing less, sleeping better, and waking up with significantly less throat congestion. Within 30 days, your doctor will likely ask you what you changed. Now let me tell you what not to do. Don't reach for antihistamines as your first response. They dry mucus temporarily, but trigger a rebound effect that makes the underlying problem worse over time. Don't use decongestant sprays for more than 3 consecutive days. They cause rebound congestion that can significantly worsen mucus symptoms. Don't give up during the first 3 to 5 days. There can be a brief increase in mucus clearing as your body begins to mobilize existing buildup. This is your body healing. Push through it. Don't combine the ginger protocol with blood-thinning medications without speaking to your physician first. Ginger has mild blood-thinning properties, and if you are on anticoagulant therapy, you need medical guidance on dosage. Now I want to hear from you. Have you been dealing with chronic throat mucus for months or even years? Have you tried things that simply haven't worked? Share your experience in the comments below. I read every single one. Your story might be exactly what another viewer needs to hear to know they are not alone. Let's do a quick summary of everything we've covered today. Number 7. Eliminate dairy products in the evening to prevent mucus thickening overnight. Number 6. Stay properly hydrated with warm water throughout the day to keep mucus thin and mobile. Number 5. Address hidden acid reflux, specifically laryngopharyngeal reflux, with bed elevation and meal timing. Number 4. Use daily steam inhalation and nasal saline rinsing to clear post-nasal drip before it reaches your throat. Number 3. Identify and eliminate your personal dietary triggers through a structured 2-week elimination protocol. Number 2. Use the evening turmeric, black pepper, and raw honey protocol to directly reduce inflammatory mucus production. And number 1. Fresh ginger tea, prepared correctly, twice daily, the most powerful, safest, and most scientifically supported natural mucolytic available to you right now. Each of these strategies has real science behind it. But when you combine them into a consistent daily routine, the cumulative effect is something I have watched transform the daily lives of my patients over and over again. My message to you today is not panic. It is empowerment. You now have information that most people walking into a general practitioner's office will never receive. Chronic throat mucus after 60 is not something you simply have to accept. It is not just aging. It is a correctable, addressable, and for most people, highly reversible problem. Here is my challenge to you. Commit to the full ginger protocol twice daily for 30 days. Just 30 days. Track how you feel each morning. Notice when you catch yourself not clearing your throat in a conversation. Pay attention to the first morning you wake up and realize your throat feels clear. Those moments will come. And when they do, I want to hear about it. Your body wants to heal. It simply needs the right raw materials and the right environment to do so. Age does not take away your body's ability to recover. It simply reminds you to care for it the right way. If this video helped you today, please hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel so you never miss the clear, honest health information we share specifically for adults over 60. And please, share this video with someone in your life who clears their throat constantly. The people we love deserve real answers too. Which solution will you try first? The ginger tea? The steam inhalation? Tell me in the comments right now. I genuinely want to hear your answer. Take care of yourself. You deserve to feel well.